Ladies and gentlemen, guys, gals, non-binary pals, welcome back to another week of Essentials, where we have a lot of games coming up this week as well. Got a bit of a schedule on your screen here, but tonight, starting us off, is a poLANd qualifier game for Poland, of course. There's only so many PCs at the venue, and that means that we need to figure out who's coming, who's not. We're playing a bit of a qualifier. Tonight, it is Velo Gaming versus Mr. McVities playing for a spot in a best of three, the final spot at Poland. My name is Wandam, joined tonight by Stu on production, and then Naj joining me on the cast. How we doing?
I'm doing well, my friend. I'm glad to be back in the TF2 scene in some capacity. So it's going to be nice to actually get involved and see how this game goes.
Yes, actually, I'm kind of looking at this, and I cannot tell within myself whether or not I think this is going to be a close game or not. I think you're kind of looking at these two rosters, at least for me, and one of them is Velo Gaming, and you know, it has names that you would reasonably expect, I think, like individually at least, to be like relatively towards like Div 2-ish. And then sort of on the other side we have McVities, who maybe there's just a bit of like personal bias or something here, but like I wouldn't associate them like individually as strong. But they are, you know, a group of friends who played together for a very long time, compared to this Velo Gaming roster, which is a bit newer and you know hadn't really been together at all. So I wonder, what's your take on this? I know Notch, you're close to the McVitie's people. How are we scoring this game?
I think to be entirely honest, on the MCV side, it becomes a bit of a problem because it's like if you're really considering how well they're gonna do, it's like it depends on the day because with MCV it's like I would probably argue they could be like up there as a team if they're like trying in quotation marks because they have like seasons and events where they just want to have fun, like they're not really there to put a lot of effort in. But Zeno is one of the highest DM scouts I've ever seen. Like genuinely scares me, especially for like his level in the divs. So I think like players like him, players like Shadu, on that side are like players to look out for. And at the end of the day, that just kind of lists off both other scouts. I have also played alongside Cyanic, which was definitely an experience.
Yep.
He's a very good player. Sometimes if he tilts, the comms can get a little cluttered, and more than likely, with the way MCV's mental is, they're probably going to be going for some taunt kills on him. I'll be honest, or like not taunt kills, but like taunting him after killing him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think Cyanic is one of those guys who is
There's going to
kind
be a
of
bit of a mental play here.
a bit tiltable. I think Marv also another one of these players. I think there is an important caveat to this, is that I've just discovered by going digging a little bit, is that the Zern that you guys will see on stream is actually not Zern. It is in fact Dempsey murking for Zern tonight on that second scout role. So it's a bit of a murk coming in for Velo Gaming. I don't know how big of a deal it actually is. We'll have to wait and see. I'll be honest, we have 3 maps coming up, and we had them posted in the Discord, and I cannot find them. I'm scrolling, trying my best.
It's going to be Process and Bagel as the first two, but I don't remember what the decider is.
I
We
found
are
it. Cider's Metalworks Notch. We
there
figured
you
it
go.
out.
We have cracked the code. The Da Vinci Code's there. I was a little confused when Zern joined the server and he was on my friends list. But then I saw the profile picture and kind of assumed it could have been Dempsey, but I didn't know if I had Zern added or not. But I don't think I do.
All right, Notch. I need you to tell me right now. You already pointed out Zeno. Is there anyone else on the side of McVitie's that we need to keep an eye out for when we're watching this this game? Because these are teams, you know, I feel like if you're sort of playing TF2 at all, kind of, you will have seen these names around in some shape or form. But I wonder sort of who are we keeping our eyes out for besides Zeno on this McVitie's team?
I'll be completely honest. It's probably just mainly the scouts. Like Whip has his days. Like Whip one day can come in and be like some absolute savant, but then come in the next day and be like okay at best. But I think mainly like the ones to look out for are like Zeno and Shidu. Zeno and Shidu are very competent players, and I mean Shidu is very I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Shadow has upwards of 200 hours in like Kovacs in the last 2 weeks. So it's like definitely a player to say the least.
All right, because I'm kind of looking at the other side of the scoreboard, right? And now that Zern isn't here, which is sort of my usual, or sort of I would say my go-to sort of lookout for, it's kind of hard. I think we did actually see, and I got to cast the round one game of Velo Gaming versus a team that I forgot. I think it was the Matec team, which is called something. I forgot. Bloking Hazard. And there, Marv was actually doing a very, very good job and kind of at points solo carrying his team a little bit, which I was a bit surprised by. But he whipped out the sniper on map number 2 and really sort of brought it to a golden cap on his own. Just absolutely slammed on that class. Did pretty well. Kind of ultimately seemed a bit like the standout player for the side of Velo Gaming. We'll have to see if he does similar things tonight here, Naj. I think finally, before we do anything else, I think we should talk a bit about some score predictions here.
Well, I mean, I don't see this game not being close. I'll be honest. Like MCV, it doesn't matter if they're better or like equally skilled. This game will always be close. I've played with like 8 of the 12 players on the server, on teams, and I see it maybe process going like a 3-2. Could be a long one. But it also could very well be like a 5-0 if MCV are just throwing.
I'm actually wondering a bit because I know Not Steven, obviously from casting, right? Most people watching as well will know Not Steven from casting, but Not Steven as a player is someone who I actually don't really feel like I have that much of a frame of reference to for how good he actually is. I'm a bit interested to see if he can represent the caster team well, or whether or not he's just an absolute fraud. But
from my experience, he's very very disciplined and pretty consistent. I can't really say too much on his performance because I think I've only played with him like twice, but yeah, he from what I've seen in logs, he seems pretty consistent, and the games we played together, he was very disciplined, tended to hold a lot more than sort of take aggressive fights and things like that.
All right, with that in mind, we are going live once again. This is the final round of the poLANd qualifier group stage here between Mr. McVities grandstanding Hobnobs and Velo Gaming. Both of them playing for that third spot in their group, looking to make it to the final deciding qualifier match to get their spot booked for poLANd 2025. We're on middle already. Early bombs coming across from both sides. Real aggression coming out, but it's Clara eating a lot of damage here. Besides just being traded, Crowd dropping down super low, but that's a kill onto Shadow. Trade kill coming out, Clara, really nice arrow there, but the bomb in onto Deli means so many players full.
Oh my goodness.
Clean up bomb, so many players alive, and just barely, kind of everyone falling apart now. Just one Xeno left alive, but he's in PC, Naj. He's doing nothing about that mid.
He's just running away. That was very unfortunate to MCV. They got to the corner on the opposite side, and then it was just a matter of do or die, and well, they couldn't quite do enough. There wasn't really much else to say about that. Very unfortunate for them, but they're probably just going to set up on last now from my experience with MCV. I really don't see them throwing anything at the wall. The gun, more than likely, just going to be set up in an aggressive position. They know the Uber percentage is going to be around equal, so I don't see them playing this any other way.
Just sitting back on last for now. They're setting up a gun, got a sniper alongside them, support. Hope to take some kind of pot shot onto a potential medic. Sort of any opening kill, I think you would be more than happy with trying to push into process lobby here. So we're just setting up, building up the overcharge before we go peeking. Shadow now is sort of watching the wrong door if he wanted to kill, but it's an early sticky kill from Whip actually onto Cyanic there. Dempsey with a bit of a taunt has to just run out of lobby. That's a demo down here. Maybe. We'll have to see now if MCV fancy themselves any kind of a push. Demo advantage is pretty big. Those stickies means it is Crowd. The other soldier here as well. Have to do a lot of the heavy lifting, which is opening a door here for Shadow. Does not really find much of a kill. That's just a peek. We're still back. We're chilling. Got the level 3 up.
Yeah, I will say, unless they get a medic kill, MCV will not push off one tick. It won't happen, not off last. They're going to be spamming some pipes into lobby, though. About to get a kill onto Dempsey, the zone wannabe. And yeah, that's another one. They might get a bit aggressive with the sniper now. But it actually looks like Shadoo's going to be switching off onto Spy.
Oh, but it's a kill there on the crowd
mind.
as well. Now 2 frags means that Shadoo goes back on Scout, and that seems to signal, at least to me, that they're going to try for something at least, right? Looking at one already, and they're throwing the stickies, but there's one soldier sitting above. He's just kind of bombing forwards, shooting down, so that's sort of enough spam, it looks like, at least to have dissuaded the push from now, but now we're just sending in whip boards. They want to take this trade, but look at the heavy from Dempsey. Up on the low ground, is going to do a lot of spam here. Neither team is popping Uber. One switch probably crosses a really nice shot onto Shadoo, and this is not a very good Uber, I think, for either side, to be honest. No positioning for MCV whatsoever. LK caught out on the flank, and maybe this is 2 down for MCV. Clara!
Oh, this is so bad.
Careful. I told you, she just gets taken down here. Marv comes in with a cleanup. Now Heavy just has to walk across. This is Dempsey taking so much space for his team. It's a counter Heavy from Zeno. But look at just the positioning for the side of Velo Gaming. So much better for them. It's a complete wipe in the end. And that is a very surprisingly slow final second. That just kind of goes awry. The Uber pop doesn't find any positioning. And that's a round on the board for the side of Velo Gaming. 4.5 minutes, 3.5 minutes.
Yeah, so perfect. The heavy was so well timed. Realistically, coming into the heavy, like, I think MCV took way too long to push. It was very much like they were trying to clear too many things. Alkir wasn't confident enough to walk out of lobby on towards the top IT area. So it just became a bit of like a stagnant push. And now we go into the next mid fight where MCV are going to be trying to not linger in the corner quite as long as they did last time.
We are back to the corner, but this time around, more players surrounding Clara and starts the fight up decently. But there's a lot of early damage here. Shadoo already taken down, not Steven. Really quite low as well, as the bomb now can just come in from Velo crowd, completely uncontested on Clara's face. And that means that it's Deli walking in for a pack on Steven for the bomb, and his whip trying to come in as well. Just don't find the kill. Now one Zeno. One man in his sights. Deli does not fall instead. The wipe comes out, and Velo Gaming, that's a very decisive mid-victory there.
Yeah, very, very valiant attempt by Zeno, as he managed to get himself all the way across point, but not quite close enough to deal any meaningful damage. Big Uber advantage on the side of the red team here. I've forgotten team names already. It's great.
Velo Gaming.
Velo Gaming. I should always just look at the sides. I need some optical assistance, I guess.
We're setting up for a push here, by the way. There's a sniper up for Zeno, but that's 100%, and they're just gonna walk right around lobby. Uber popped already. It's a super early kill here onto not Steven as well, right? The sentry gun does fall down, but now there's a heavy up. As Soldier bombs forward, they really want this kill into Clara. She is quite low, but now with the heavy up, they haven't dealt with the stickies rather on point. We need to regroup a little bit, because now this is the medic. Sit back, heal it up. Rest of her team up, but now pressuring onto the point. This is a very aggressive whip cactus. Is going to get taken down. They just focus down the point. That's Velo. Another round on the board.
Yeah, putting a soldier up top there, like, just to, you know, deny whip, because whip's going to get pretty aggressive anyway. Like, it's kind of pretty well known that whip, like, will kind of charge head on into things. But unfortunately, the heavy wasn't able to, you know, pick up the pieces, kill the people he needed to in order to keep everyone safe. And yeah, they just put a scout on point and won.
Now down 2 rounds within only 6 minutes here. Velo Gaming commanding lead here at the beginning, back on middle already. CV really need to find some kind of an angle back into this game. They haven't really looked that successful onto their mids this time around. Not Steven wants to go for a bomb, but unfortunately doesn't find much. Gets shut down by the scouts instead. Now 2 frags for the side of Velo, who are just going to rotate around once again, reposition, but that's a really big bomb coming in from LK, supported by Whip Cactus' stickies. Clara quite low and just ends up eating the pipes from Dianic onto the point. It looks so good for them, but now look at Marv. He's in already, fancies himself a bit of a Whip Cactus, manages to find the 1v2. Zeno does not engage either, and that means that instead, ultimately, it is going to be Velo coming up with a mid-fight victory, getting that medic frag towards the end there for Cyanic.
I'm really surprised. I'm really surprised I'm not seeing more confidence out of the MCV scouts. They're, I think Shadoo's trying to take aggressive fights, getting kind of shut down by just, you know, being alone in the team fights, and then Zeno is trying to play a bit more of a passive role. It's kind of uncomfortable to watch with coordination. But they have managed to hold on to second, even though they do have a pretty big Uber deficit going on. More than likely going to try and back themselves out as Velo's going to try and come in through Arcade there. It's a crit.
Oh my god,
Never mind.
The crit's destroying them as well. 2 super early frags. The bomb coming in from not Steven. Manages to find a singular kill onto Dempsey. But unfortunately, there's just not really any sort of a follow-up whatsoever. 1 scout frag traded for 4 here. And Velo Gaming now, big advantage. Xeno, 1-man army. LK wanting to bomb it as well. They just need to get some kind of a frag hit coming in, but they end up just sacking themselves for nothing. Clara's up, but with a heavy just so late spawning. This heavy, with the demo man of Whip, has to do so much work on holding onto this last.
Yeah, they're coming in on the left side, going to be trying to apply a bit of pressure onto towards the point. They've managed to get the heavy of Shadu with the soldier and Nest, but he's now going to be deceased and back in the respawn queue. They're trying to get some pressure onto the point, but not quite able to.
Oh my god,
Whip's going to be trying to deal some damage, but the spy takes him down, and the Dead Ringer there to save his life so he can get himself out in the end. Dempsey still going to be up and about, sneaking around on that spy, potentially going to be looking for a back cap here.
I think the coast is kind of clear, right? You see so many members of MTV just pushing out, and he can just decloak. There's one Whip spawning, but he's not there in time!
Oh, that's so
unfortunate. But unfortunately, he could just shot a sticky there, Nudge. It would have been completely fine.
Oh, 100%, but Whip just likes to throw his body at the problem.
Yeah, that's an absolute disaster around there for MCV. And this, Nudge, we were talking about this, like maybe this is going to be close, but so far, Jesus Christ, this is not close. This is Velo really just outplaying MCV, right? Not really finding much success on mid. We're back on it already.
I think the thing with MCV though is like they aren't really quick to shake mentally. Whip seems like the type of player to get loud, but he's pretty good at maintaining a decent mental. They are going to be just taking some pressure on towards the corner here as MCV have lingered a little too beyond their welcome. Whip is just still in the corner alive after 3 players deceased trying to take the fight with him, but everyone else on his team's dead. He's trying to get a kill, a consolation frag to come out of it, but no, he's just going to get cleaned up by the scouts, and that's going to be the end of MCV on this mid.
It's both medics spawning at the same time, so it's actually not too bad here for either side from our MCV. Do have a little bit of time to regroup onto second. Cyanic already, however, is in through Al-Qaeda, now walking forwards here. He is very aggressive considering where the rest of his team is. Soldier as well, bombing forwards, trying to get something happening here, but there's no heals with them quite yet. Instead, we're just finding 2 kills anyway. And yeah, no. Those are 2 free frags, and even Uber's still Whip. Sticking up lobby, but this is scary. Now you're 2 players down. This is potential last point pressure here. One heavy up. Xeno. Just do a lot of work.
Yeah, MCV aren't really opposed to those double sacks, but they're definitely not good. Clara goes down on the point. Shadu soon to follow, and well, it looks like Craft is going to be trying to get himself into a safer position. Gets cleaned up in the end. It's going to be a 3v3. The medic's still alive on the side of Velo, but taking a lot of damage. The scout goes down, but so does Whip. Cyanic, the last man standing in this 2v1. 4 seconds on the respawn for MCV. He's just going to be trying to get himself out of there.
It's a very unfortunate fight there towards the end, right? Losing Delhi. It's such an easy... I feel like you get that medic sack and you just kind of run as far back as you can, push back in with an Uber ab. Instead, we kind of commit to this super weird fight on last, and unfortunately, that just means that now we're in an even Uber situation. Dempsey wants... Up again on the spy, just goes in, doesn't do anything. Now we're a player down, Nudge.
Yeah, that's not something that you really go for twice, not unless you're Sideshow, I don't think. But they're going to be trying to get their way in through choke. They're just going to try and force it, and no. Backing out in the end, Steven goes in for the sack, isn't able to find the target he's looking for, gets himself out, doesn't get caught, and they're just going to be still clustered in this choke. Only a few players actually out for MCV, and it is a favourable fight for them, but they're just lingering around. Shroud gets caught behind, and well, that's going to be the mid in their favour.
It's a demo kill early on onto Cyanic, right? Suddenly, there's no demo and pestering you with spam. You just kind of walk in through choke. Super nice for the side of MCV. Now, a bit of momentum. It's a bit of an Uber advantage, not that big. Delhi 98% already. And it looks like maybe we're fancying ourselves. A bit of a trade here. In onto Dempsey as the Uber's popped. The scout just up on the high ground, but he disconnects from his medic. Now Delhi, super far forwards, needs the rest of his team to come in.
So cool.
And there's just 4 people coming in, 1 player already falling. The rest of his team is sort of a very weird collapse here coming across, and ultimately MCV come out on top of the chaos. Clara might end up paying for it with her life. There's no one on last to block this. One Dempsey. Can you make it to last in time? There's so many players coming up, and they're headed straight to the point. It's ×1, ×3 on the cap, and they do not make it at all. That's another round, but this time, Nudge, MCV, they get us back.
I told you, the mental's not gone yet. They played that very well in a couple of those chaotic fights, but also they shouldn't quite have been as chaotic as they were. That was definitely something that could have been very much cleaned up by either side, and I think a little more coordination amongst both teams could have definitely saved them a bit of time. But they managed to get there in the end. It's 3-1. Are they going to be able to win the next one?
We'll have to see if they can tie this back up. It's still 17 minutes to play for, so it's the end of the world. They do have time for 2 rounds. Obviously prefer not to be down 2 rounds, as we are back on mid, and the Soldier's bombing across for the moment. Early spam, and is onto Xeno as well. These scouts are really not that healthy, cannot hold on to much of high ground at all. Marv dropping on quite low as well, but we just kind of traded sides, but now the Soldier bombs are coming forwards, and it's an early kill onto Shadow here as well. Counter bombs coming forward, just delete Deli from the server. Crowded behind, however, and that's just a collapse coming in for Velo Gaming, who find everyone besides Xeno.
Both kills on that mid for MCV, found by not Steven in an incredibly clutch play there, as he managed to salvage the med in a double bomb, but also clean up the Soldier that was on his own medic. Unable to save the mid. There is going to be a scout over here, a little Zern one hiding around in nest. He goes for it, but he gets himself caught. And, well, that's the end of that play, I guess.
Yep, I like the idea, but unfortunately, instead of waiting for the medic to show himself in your cross, or herself in your crosshair, you just kind of walk in and show yourself to the whole enemy team. So unfortunately, that play does not work at all. TF2 is actually, so it's not the end of the world for either team here either. We're just kind of chilling on second. Scout pick is fine, but that is Dempsey showing us how many classes that they can play on one map, as we are now on the sniper.
This is where we get boring. We're just going to be sitting on mid for about 5-6 minutes.
Is this sniper... Because here's the thing, right? It's really nice if you're playing defensively and you're waiting for people to run into your sight line, but, like, the angle on, like, trying to play a sniper aggressively into second, which is sort of... It seems like, at least for me, like, watching this game so far, right? Velo have been the team with the superior DM and sort of able to command the fights that they do take. I wonder if this sniper ever actually does anything. Cyanic, though. I saw 2 pipe onto Xeno there.
The thing is, because Xeno plays in a certain way where he's able to see a lot of these sight lines and usually ends up standing in a few of them, they do know, and they're never going to peek this sniper. But they will bring a sniper of their own quite frequently to ego peek him, like not Steven's doing now. He managed to find the sniper. They've managed to get another one in lobby. That's going to be a 4v6 for them if they come out onto the point. A weak Soldier left remaining on the Spire goes for the sniper, gets himself caught, and they're still going to be taking this Uber forward. There is an Uber on the opposite side, and they're just going to wait for respawns and probably try and get a bit aggressive onto the players of MCV. But I think MCV want to get mid. I think they want to try and force mid before leaving, but it's not going to happen.
It's a really difficult fight, right? Now you're down like a massive move advantage. The pop does come out here from Ellie as a counter fight happens here on mid. Unfortunately, the air shot doesn't connect onto Elkir as we're in onto second, but this is a Cyanic down already. Dempsey forced to take this fight on his own. There's 3 really nice sniper cleanup kills there during that Uber fight, but now not Steven. Unfortunately, not finding the same success on Soldiers as Xeno. Moving forwards as well, but they're just taking so much damage, forced back into 1. Clara does have a bit of an advantage here, but I wonder if that's going to be enough to keep her team in this round.
I don't know if you missed that, but Crowd just tried to speed shot through 1, and it was a valiant attempt. Didn't quite make it, but he definitely tried. Well, MCV, very passive. Not really much to look at there. It's just going to be a bit of a stalemate. MCV do have the Uber advantage, but they're not really going to do anything with it. They're just going to sit on the last point, wait for the enemy team to make a mistake and see if they can get themselves out of last on this.
It's a bit scary though, right? If you're down 2 rounds with 13 minutes only left to go, right? You kind of need to some point start playing the game a bit more aggressively, and that's just a
Oh,
scout.
no.
Pepsi runs in, and just on his own, nice two, oh maybe even a third there onto Shadow. Gets mighty dangerous here. This does get cleaned up, but that is just a scout that pays off dividends there for the side of Velo Gaming. Now 100% advantage. Shadow already up on the Copium Sniper. Needs to find it big here.
Shadow's called the hero shot too. He wants the shot. This is something Shadow is very well known for as a player. If you play with him, he will always call this, and he will always say that he's going to play sniper to try and get the hero shot. He's annoying because he could be playing something a lot more useful, but here he is.
Let's see though that we are peeking in, and we're just going to go straight through 3. Here's the Uber popped right onto Cyanic. Finds a lot of damage, but people do hit their respawn binds in time now. Heavy coming up with the opposing side, not Steven. Take it down as well. The Heavy is just stuck back in spawn, but the Stickies still have not been dealt with. There's a lot of high ground for Velo Gaming, but the Medic nowhere near to be able to heal these players, and so now you're down 2 soldiers here. One Demo Man, the only one trying to force himself forward, but it's now the crit Heavy. The laser beam comes out, and it should be enough to just force these players back. Marv cannot take the fight on his own, and somehow, some way, MCV, they stick themselves in that.
Yeah, really well played from them, to be fair. The laser beam Heavy was definitely a good idea. I can't say it's the most common strat in the book, but they're gonna get themselves second off it and stick with this Uber disadvantage, which, I mean, they probably think is much larger than it actually is. But either way, they're just gonna wait till they get their Uber and hold just equally. I think Velo want to try and take a dot push though, which is going to be a bit chaotic, but we'll have to see how it goes.
Walking in through PC already. It's some Stickies from Whip Hit, but they're playing super far back already, so it looks like they're probably just going to be able to take second for free with 1 scout, and it's a follow-up kill onto LK. The Uber popped already, straight in onto Clara, who just ends up eating dirt on last. Serves the initial explosion really nicely. Fortunately, just does not account for the fall damage. Now no Uber to speak of whatsoever. Spells disaster for MCV, who lose second in the meantime. 1 player at a time coming out of spawn. Everyone ends up falling. Velo Gaming go for a dot push. It doesn't even turn into a dot push. Instead, it's always a drop push. You just drop the enemy med.
Yeah, it's a very unfortunate position to be in. I honestly don't really understand why Clara didn't pop. Just a lapse in judgment, I guess. But oh, it was a crit. But yeah, either way, that is very unfortunate.
Now down match point here, or map point rather, for the side of Velo Gaming. It's super early damage onto Whip. We actually spent a long time waiting for a bow before he can come back into it. Once again, it's MCV favoring the enemy corner hit, but this time not Steven shot up into the air. Doesn't quite get air shot, but it's just a shutdown across from everyone else on the side of Velo Gaming, finding the cleanup kills, and now 1 Marv sniper is down, but LK wants to farm in, and it's just too little, far too late there. No frags coming in at all. Shadow's still up with Clara, so they are going to have an Uber, but MCV are nowhere to be found on their second.
Yeah, very difficult position to be in. 4-1 down, 9 minutes left on the clock, and, well, you're now on your last. So, where do you go from here? You're in a bit of a stuck position. You got to try and find the advantage, but other than that, there isn't really a lot I can say.
Whip almost gets called out there, but a nice pipe onto Dempsey rather. Is going to shut down the aggression from Crowd as well. Now 2 kills. Is Velo Gaming just kind of overstepping a little bit now? Not Steven coming back up, and it looks like MCV, at least for now, looking to come back onto second with these 2 picks. Marv still up on the sniper. Was devastating in round number 1 versus Blocking Hazard on this sniper on Metalworks. Have to see if he can find the shots once again. It is just Shadow in the corner. Clara sits right around it. But for now, it's fights in. It's just in lobby, and they're just killing all of them, I guess. Sewer rather, it's 2 players falling. Headshot to not Steven. Headshot onto Clara, and that's a dropped medic. Now, disaster for MCV. Shadow has to find something. Finds absolutely nothing instead. Just respawn queue for him. Looks like this is may or may just, yeah, I think it just might be curtains, right? Velo Gaming already pushing in onto lobby, finding a play onto the soldier. Not Steven is back up alive, but is it not just too late? Deli has 100%, they can just push right in. Whip, a bit of a block.
Maybe he is blocking for a considerable amount of time. His team's managed to get the respawns in the end, and he does get a nice pipe onto Dempsey, but doesn't quite find the frag for himself. They're going to be coming in with Uber advantage though. Can MCV kite for long enough? They've used a little earlier than we might have anticipated, but they're still going to be trying to get the frags nonetheless. They're dealing a lot of damage. Alkia going to be falling alongside Xeno, and the point pressure is going to be there. The final two remaining players of MCV, Clara and Whip, unable to salvage, and that's going to be a 5-1 victory for the side of Velo.
Just, yeah, it feels like kind of, as much as you could talk about the sort of macro sense, this feels like also just a big individual player difference across the board, right? Like, it is just Marv hitting the shots, everyone kind of, from Velo shining just a bit brighter. MCV sort of looked like they had their sort of singular mid-fight, and that kind of didn't work most of the time. They're sort of looking a bit disjointed. I'd say the soldiers as well, just a bit unfortunate, and that means that you are just going to drop map number 1 rather. One map left for them to prove here, potentially, if they want to go all the way to Poland. Bagel coming up next, but okay, Naj, what did you see? Tell me.
I mean, I'll be completely honest. I saw MCV being a lot more passive than I'm used to. There was a lot of like them sort of judging fights to just be out of their favor, whether they could fight for it or not. And there was a lot of sort of disconjointed plays between, especially the scouts and the soldiers. Maybe there wasn't enough cleanup, and they were just kind of getting mullered because of it. They like the lack of team synergy in a lot of these positions, especially on mid fights, became very apparent, especially towards the sort of mid to late end of the game.
Yep. And this makes me wonder, right? We're going into Bagel next, and this is a map that at least the upper divisions in Prem has turned into, whereas we're used to as casters, right? Like, you see a Koth map and you're like, oh no, I'm going to be rap godding for 30, 40 minutes straight, because Product traditionally is a map that moves very, very fast. Bagel has turned into quite a slow map. At least the top divisions, right? You sit your demo behind the point, you tag your demo, you tag your scout, and you sit and you spam across, and you just kind of wait for your flank players to either die themselves or find a kill on the enemy team, and then they can come in from behind and kill the combo, right? And that's kind of how this map works at the top level. I have to see. Also ends up being similar down here in sort of the depths of the Div 2 murky Div 2, Div 3 middle type level of TF2. But I wonder, okay, here's the thing, right? What we saw from map number 1 is at least for me, right, the clear sort of difference in level of individual play here, and that just on a map like Bagel also, which can still devolve into normal Koth map where everything moves all the time and nothing ever ends. If you just have the superior DM, the superior mechanics, the superior sort of interplay between your players as well, it just becomes very easy to win. I do wonder, though, here's the thing, right? Another thing with Bagel is that it is also a bit of a synergy tester more than anything. I'm speaking about this a bit already, but if you are testing your synergy, right, like, you would kind of expect maybe a team like MCV, who have been together for a really long time, to maybe have a bit of this pre-existing synergy, right, and sort of know what they're gonna do.
Well, I think for a map like this, on both sides will definitely come down to sort of like how they play it as a team. Because it's like you have many different styles for Koth. Like a lot of people will try and like force certain lanes, or a lot of people will try and force point, and some teams will play aggressive, some passive. It really just depends on the players that are on the roster. But I think on the side of MCV, that team cohesion that you brought up before is probably going to be like a big deal for them. I think if there's a time to really show off, it's kind of now, because Koth really needs it.
I do wonder, though, right? Like you're saying that Koth really needs it, but okay. Are you going to tell me now, Naj, that this is going to be anything other than a roll? Be honest.
I want to
What's
have
the
faith.
cope? Actually, let's frame it like this instead. What is the MCV cope to say that actually no, MCV are going to come back?
Okay, historically MCV have always performed better on Koth than 5CP. That's an unfortunate truth. But it's difficult to really say with how the last map went. Like, MCV could completely flip this on its head and come out of this like easy 3-0 victory, or they could come out of this and get like stamped. So it's really difficult to say with MCV.
But okay, so let's say that MCV do go ahead and get the dub. What's changing? What's going to be that deciding factor in the MCV taking us to map number 3?
They play the Aussie playstyle. They just put both of their soldiers like deep, and then play 2 scouts like perma beam, and then have Whip just behind the med instead of behind the point. And then Whip will just go for like very aggressive bombs every now and again. I think that's kind of the play they'll go for, and I mean, it really comes down to how well Dempsey and Marv play on the opposite side to really shut it down.
I was surprised on map number 1 as well. I thought Cyanic was actually doing a pretty decent job of locking the enemy team down, hitting some nice pipes and stuff like that. So
oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah, so I don't know. Yeah, I think I'm being pretty apparent in what I think is going to happen on this map based on what we saw in map number 1. But Nudge, if you give me a bit of a score prediction,
I'm gonna cope. I'm gonna say 3-1 MCV.
Hell yeah, that's what we like to hear, ladies and gentlemen, guys, gals, non-binary pals. This is map number 2. The final round of poLAND 2025 group stage qualifier. Winner of this map, and maybe potentially the next map as well, depending on how this map goes, will make it to a final deciding best of 3 to see who gets the final spot in poLAND 2025 here. Now on map number 1, it was Velo walking away quite dominantly on Process. We'll have to see if they can continue their superiority here on Bagel, as we are just in onto a mid-fight. It is playing out quite slowly, but there we go. It's a soldier in from behind Crowd, doing a lot of damage to not Steven, as Shadow takes decent damage as well. And this is just MCV bullied off of the point. They get 1 kill onto Crowd. Clara now not taking damage. It's a scout just bombing in, but it's a soldier instead who bombs in and finds 3. Destruction there. It is the only saving grace as he is in behind, right? It's a wipe on the enemy side. Both medics did go down.
Oh, Shadow, no. He caught the rocket at the very end, managed to find the kill for himself, and it's going to be not Steven in on the point, and Alke in behind. Alke unable to find anything, Steven able to get the capture, and now MCV are just going to be burning down that time as far as they can until eventually it gets captured by the enemy team, because they're not going to aggress on this.
Trade kill happening onto not Steven as well there, so it's an early kill for MC. Now you're down a player as well. It's going to spawn quite fast because this is Koth, but it's a bit of an advantage here for MCV on the crits. It's just going to be loading up Clara now 90%, but it's a Marv in behind already. Has been spotted out a little bit, making it a bit difficult, but Whip just wants it in through house already, as a crit is popped out, but doesn't really find much of anything. Trade kills happening across, but a soldier bomb from Potato come in, find 2 already. It's Dempsey in behind, finding another kill as well, just LK low. That is a disastrous crit. Uber advantage right back in the favor of Velo Gaming. Delhi now 90%. MCV really need another answer.
Really just deciding to try and get too close with that crit. The moment you get close, the moment they know, they're just going to be trying to back off, get themselves in a safe position. But taking the crits further from a distance can be a little more unexpected, but also a little more sort of a loose cannon. But Whip goes in for the bomb anyway and slams Delhi. What an incredible play from him. Pretty much solo, as now not Steven's just there to get any sort of consolation prize along with it.
That's
what a play.
Nice sack. Super nice sack from MCV. That gives them the Uber advantage right back in their favor. Scout of Dempsey spotted out early as well, taken down now. Shadow He's shepherding the rest of his team forwards. One soldier's hiding. Above here's Clara is going to show herself 90, 100%. Now the bomb comes in. Oh, super nice bomb in. Clara forced to pop, flashing a few members as well, and that's all you really want if you are Velo for now. They're looking a bit aggressive.
Yeah, unfortunately only a 20 ad for them, as they could have hoped for a little more in that position, but MCV flashing a lot in order to burn that Uber quicker very much favoured them in that position there. But speaking of not, well, getting favoured at all, it just gets bombed and dies. Alkia finds a consolation, but it's not really worth anything. It's a soldier for a demo. They're still going to be aggressive, and Steven's soon to follow.
You can see how far back MCV have to play because of their lack of a demo man, right? They cannot hold forwards anymore without that spam. Crowd is in behind, just gets early damage here onto Zeno, forces everyone back once again. Gonna retreat onto the pack, but it is just gonna get cleaned up by Elko. But that's just time on the board. 30 seconds left on the point for now, as Marv is going to take his place in the enemy house as well. Now it's a bit of a contest coming across. Heat movers on both teams. It's early spam here onto Clara and Deli both. Dropping below 100, so they're not going to be in danger of getting piped or something. Instead, it's Cyanic finding a sticky kill here onto Whip, as the Uber is going to come across, but it is Deli milking for so long. Finally pulls that Uber and is straight in onto Dempsey, who's just taking the solo. And now so many players on MCV, the dominoes might just start falling because no one's on the cap. And that for Velo Gaming, that's a round on to the board and a foot in the door. Fancying their chances to go on to poLANd still.
My coping's not working out. I'm gonna be completely honest. We're off to a bad start. But either way, it's like very poor decisions from MCV that are really letting them down. I think realistically they should know better than this, especially on the side of like Whip, who's been playing on this team for a long time. Kind of been shepherding this for, I don't know, good maybe 6-7 years now as well. Looks like we're going to be trying to get a bit of an aggressive fight in house, but everyone backing off. The two scouts on the side of Velo just there to pressure MCV away, keep them back in bed.
Alright, but it's an early kill here onto Zeno, now starting off the fight. Clara does build up a crit, who is just going to pop it straight in onto Whip. Whip not finding much, instead of a bomb coming onto Clara. Early rocket found there by Crowd as well, both soldiers committing, trying to get her down, but instead the crit's not finding much. This now is a very aggressive Velo Gaming, who have an overcharge of their own to work with here. Scout is coming across straight in onto the enemy team. They have one aim here to get as many kills as possible. Not really finding much. It's one kill onto Clara here. The cleanup now can come out, but this is not Steven just sitting, waiting for Deli, who would fade. Finds that kill. So many players falling now finally for Velo, who try and take the trade and find absolutely nothing on it.
Yeah, Whip's position was a little bit crazy there, but ended up making it work in the end, as he was just kind of stuck in left house while the Uber was going on. Did manage to get an assist onto Cyanic, I'm pretty sure, as his scout came in from that right side. But overall, it's not really going to be worth too much. MCV still rocking on that crit, going to be getting that up and running, ready to take another engagement, but realistically, after getting 2 kills, losing 2 of their own, it's just a perfect trade. They're just going to like this 4v4 on towards the point, but Dempsey, very aggressive, onto Whip, finds the kill, which is something else, to say the least. Manages to clean him up in the end is Zeno, and as the other scout of Marv gets a little bit aggressive as well, isn't able to find anything for himself, but crit rockets being flown across point. Nothing to be found once again. MCV 3-0 on these crits.
Unfortunately, just not finding anything, and that just gives the return fight so much more power here for Velo, who are finding kills without even popping an overcharge. Deli, 85%, but it's the rest of MCV collapsing all around him instead, as they individually try to throw themselves at this medic. They're just not finding him. Instead, they just keep feeding in kills one by one. The early kill onto Clara, onto Whip as well, falling afterwards. This is 100% Uber. And honestly, Velo, they don't really need to do anything at all. They can just sit back onto the point for now as MCV coming back in. Super. You can just hold on to this. Uses to hold the point. Instead, Whip just going in, trying to get onto Deli. Does get the force, but his early frags now coming in as well. 2 players already falling in. Zeno as well. Now not Steven. Is in behind, but this is just time ticking down on the clock. About 1:20 left for the side of Velo Gaming, who have to deal with a singular soldier who is so in behind, he's just waiting.
Yeah, this is some like Starkey play from like 2015, where he's just gonna sit behind, wait until eventually they start pushing back towards their side of point, and then he's gonna come in. This is gonna be so slow from MCV as they manage to get one scout out, but soon deceases, and they're coming out onto the corner. They found the demo, they found a soldier, and that's gonna be 4 going down as Steven comes in behind it as well. So only the 2 scouts remain, and Marv gonna want to try and take a fight on Alkir. Zeno comes in to try and save the day, manages to in the end, but a 40 health Alkir isn't going to be very happy in that left half, as, well, MC comes in for the hero play.
Finds 2 there, actually, just running at them, somehow making it work. But really now the angle is very much, you just try and get this force out onto Clara, right? Only 40 seconds left on the clock for Velo Gaming. There's plenty of time for them to work with, and they just do exactly that, right? You sack in Cyanic, you might lose another player or 2, but that's completely fine. You even popped out of MCV, not finding much of anything. Now the positioning onto the point's actually not that good. This is a bit of counter aggression coming off of Velo here. You just push straight back in.
Definitely the case. Zeno on top of the point, going to be applying a lot of pressure on towards Dempsey. Deals quite a lot of damage. He gets cleaned up by a sticky. Whip very low on the point when the soldier behind him gets cleaned up, and a rocket onto Clara is going to be there to equalize the supercharge, or, well, in this case, give them an advantage. Looks like Prata's going to be trying to go behind. They know, and they are going to be trying to aggress. He kills himself on Alkir, and that is the end of that play, I guess.
Even Uber's in the end of that, right? Both that medics ended up falling down, but it is the superior spawn timers for the side of Velo, which nets them that point capture in return. Now, MCV have managed to reduce the timer by quite a bit, now only 30 seconds. On the side of Velo, but a minute on the other side. Not too much time to work with for either team, who both have to sit back, looking just for the moment at least to build up their Uber, right?
They've gone back to grid.
That's beautiful. Surely this time.
Surely this time. 4th time's the charm, guys. 4th time's the charm. They lose Zeno, which is very unfortunate. Alkir's already dead.
Yeah, this is, it's not looking good for the crits play, right? Because that is a potato in behind as well. So now the crits is just going to come out on to Whip here, but there's only 2 seconds left on the point. You have to play super aggressively. 2 players found. It is both scouts. So for now, they get a bit of positioning, but the crits comes out onto Prata as well. Takes him down at the very end. 3 players found, but that is an Uber still alive. We get, because they capture that point right now, they're going to get the super fast respawners. They can come right back out with Uber, and this is very scary now for MCV. All Velo need to do is capture this point.
100%. They need to keep players alive on the side of MCV. They've got the early force, lost both soldiers, which isn't ideal, but is still a factor you can kind of expect in this position. Shadu going to be taking a lot of damage on point as stickies get flown over, but is going to die in the end. That's not going to be enough power to block the point, and Zeno not quite going to be fast enough. Another round goes the way of Velo.
Yeah, and that's now 2-0 up for Velo Gaming, looking mighty fine here on map number 2. The second round was a bit contested, but there in the end, right, they just managed to survive that crits with their medic intact, and that just means that, yes, you send in 2 players to get the soldiers, you send in both your soldiers to get that force, right, but it's just too many players down. At that point, you cannot hold on to the point anymore. With 0 seconds on the timer, kind of just have to send it all forward, fight, and take it, not just sack in your soldiers. Now instead, we're back on 1 round is all that remains between MCV and going to poLAND as competitors. I do believe, I expect some of these people to show up anyway, regardless of whether or not they're competing. Anyways, it would also be nice to play in the tournament itself. It's crowd starting off. The super early bomb comes in, and it's followed up by Potato there. Now 2 players sacked in forwards, getting the kill onto Clara. Zeno down quite low as well, but no medic. That spells absolute disaster. No Steven up on a bit of a sniper here. Cyanic does go down as he trades onto Marv as well. So many players falling. Shadow's in behind, finding that medic kill. At the end of the world here for MCV.
Yeah, Zeno tries to come in to help Shadu, but not quite fast enough, as he does just have to get himself back across the point. There is, well, not really a lot going on either of these medics right now. I was going to say, like, there is equal Ubers, but neither of them were really healing anybody. But as the aggression comes in to try and get the kill onto Clara once more, it's going to be crowd to fall early on in this engagement. One-man advantage could spell a success here for MCV, they have found one more. Another one follows. Potato going to be there to fall. They want to find this medic, but they're not going to be able to as well. Deli's just going to be backing himself out, getting himself all the way back towards that spawn door, and keeping himself safe for now until the Ubers equalize, and then they can maybe take a trade.
But it's a trade with the sniper up, right? Like, the sniper angles on this map are so weird. I think there's a reason you never really see it happen, because they are super dodgy. Even Umas, as you say, coming up. So this is Velo Gaming aggressing a little bit, but you are aggressing into a sniper, which can be a bit scary. Not Steven has found a few shots so far. Zeno taking a bit of a fight on the flank. No one really falling because of it, but instead, super early damage there onto Dempsey, who does go in, but they do just manage to net themselves. A bit of a force. Shadow comes in, gets a return force on to Cyanic, who's just eating the solo for the moment. But look at where Clara's standing. She's so far forward. No teammates there to support her whatsoever. Whip around the nipple, not in time, just ends up falling. 2 players alive. It's not Steven. Far back, but is going to have to hit some miracles here in order to keep his team in the round. Instead, he ends up falling.
Yeah, not enough communication on MTV there. We had Clara use on Shadu across the point. Shadu ran forward, the Uber detached, and Clara just kind of stood there looking for a new heal target on the point, unable to find anybody. And well, it just led to MCV's disaster. There's Dempsey just going to be on the pyro, playing very aggressive against these soldiers, and oh my goodness. Everybody on MCV just getting annihilated by sticky traps and reflects.
That's an absolute tilter as well. I think dying as a soldier like that on a map like Bagel, you're not used to seeing the pyro, but I think Dempsey is showing himself to be a man that thrives off the chaos, right?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Dempsey's
always been that player.
On this cluster. Now Sticky's set up, MCV have to go through, and now they send in a whip straight in onto the enemy medic. It's Deli as well, who cannot right click in time because LK on top of him as well. 4 members sacked, but you take that any day as MCV.
Yeah, Crowd looks like he wanted to try and go for some sort of hide play inside, but wasn't quite able to find the position. Instead, it's going to be Dempsey standing in a corner on Pyro. Fantastic. Surely
this does not work. There is no way. Because he's not even looking on the right side. He's going to gank his scout here on the flank. Is actually going to take a lot of damage there. That's a very low Xeno here. As a play happens on the other side, and it's early damage here from Potato, who just manages to get the force on a Clara. This is completely fine for Velo, who managed to run down the timer. Equal timers here for both teams. But one team has a bit of an advantage here. 3 players down. Gonna wait for their respawners as Dempsey choosing to stay on the pyro as well.
Yeah, if I know MCV really like this hold. I don't know quite how much they're going to be committing to it. Steven commits a little bit too much, and with the respawns being better on the Velo side, it's not going to be ideal for them on the side of MCV to lose Steven there. And well, 2 for 2, they are getting the push out. Dempsey still on the pyro, is just going to be trying to deal as much damage as possible. He nearly got Xeno last time, and now he's going to be burning him up again, but unable to hit the flare.
It's so much pressure though, right? It's really hard for the opponents to aggress into them now. Advantage for Delhi here as well. Timer is in favor of MCV, but they have to be so careful. Now the Uber charge back up for both sides means everything kind of hangs in the balance for the moment. Xeno aggression forwards in on house, but this is a super far forwards playing Pyro. Does a lot of work here onto Shadow, just gets the force immediately. The counter pop comes in. 2 players flashed for the side of Velo, but it is Potato losing the 1v1 to LK on the flank, but there's a lot of damage dealt now by Dempsey. No kills coming out. The health bar so low for Crowd to bounce. Finding 2 here. His own team low as well as Marv gets in aggressive. It's up living for now. It's a trade coming out. No one really coming out on top of the advantage. The timer is on the point to completely even. Velo looking to just go right back in.
Yeah, all 3 DM classes that were left alive on the side of Velo fell very, very weak in that attempt to leave there, but aggressive fights going on the right side as Alke is going to be the man to fall. Shadu cleans one up on the left, managing to get a kill onto Marv, and with Crowd behind, MCV are going to be a little bit unsure about going forward before he's dealt with. Potato going to be coming in onto the bomb, unable to find the medic, knows exactly where Clara is going to be positioned, but decides to get himself out of there before it becomes a little too dire.
It's crowd going down though, but this is again just the aggressive Pyro doing so much work here onto the scout. Shadu already falling. Clara has to help people off her own, but still late pop here. Deli just looking to join up with the rest of his team. It's just Dempsey with a flag on kill, is now in behind onto this opponent's scout. Look at how low Clara is, and just ends up eating the non-crit flag on. Finds that frag, and that's Dempsey on the Pyro, who manages to clean up, and there we go. Commiserations to MCV, end up eliminated from the running. Do not end up qualifying to Poland, but there we go. Velo Gaming now put themselves in a spot to clinch that final place. The last little row of 6 computers that we have available in Poland coming up in a couple months. Congratulations to them.
Congratulations to Team Velo, yeah, adding to that. Commiserations to MCV, valiant attempt, but there was a lot wrong with the play, and a lot that was exploited by the side of Velo, so very well played by them.
Yep, I feel like there are some occasional flashes of some good stuff out of MCV. I'm not gonna lie. I enjoyed what I saw out of Whip on occasion. Pretty nice.
Yeah, the bombs especially on the Koth map were...
Yep. It was pretty close at times, right? But yeah, unfortunately, I think again, it just comes down to the individual player diff. Fortunately, Velo Gaming just a bit too strong on the old hands compared to MCV, not quite able to put up with the opponent. And yeah, it is what it is, right? Unfortunately for MCV, you're not going to make it to Poland as a team playing. Hopefully they end up coming anyways. I know Whip is really nice to have at LAN because he tends to get really drunk and buy everyone alcohol, and I appreciate that. That's a good man.
Yeah, I think it's very likely that Whip attends either way. More than likely some more MCV players will probably also go, but it's very likely that Whip attends.
Hell yeah. That's what we want to see. Alright, Naj, I've got absolutely nothing else to say unless you have something else.
No, not really. I appreciate you guys letting me on, and I hope to do more in the future, get a little bit better at the pacing with TF2 because they're casting a lot slower. So I have to develop for myself, and we'll also have to see how these teams develop in future matches.
Yep. Thank you to everyone for watching. Of course, do not forget, on Thursday we've got a doubleheader coming up as well. It's Anti-Side versus Mandem, and then also Garda versus the Danish Tyrant Regime. Both of these matches looking quite spicy, to be completely honest. Particularly excited for Anti-Side versus Mandem. I think both of these guys are... both of these teams are quite exciting. I'm personally really excited for Anti-Side. I got a bit shut down by the unction that I had on Essentials, but I do believe that these guys are kind of a bit of the future of Premiership. But we'll have to see if they can live up to that title on Thursday. Going to be coming up here. Essentials TF, of course, a sister match. And then, of course, Monday as well. Venom Crest versus Witness coming up. Another week of TF2. Going to keep going all the way until Poland, and then also a bit after Poland as well. But that's it for us for now. Obviously, again, shout out to Stu for producing everything. Good night.